Aloha, namaste. This is Kaypacha with the weekly Paleo report, traveling the astral plane. I'm out there, baby. This is March 16th of year 2016, and it's been a little while since we looked at things from this particular perspective. Let me get the ball rolling here. Let's move this up to about that fast and start seeing as the world turns. I don't know if you can see that. The earth is turning. It's great, man. I love this. Okay. As you can see, what? First of all, you can see the square from Venus to Mars that's been going on. You see that square? Yes, indeed. We can also see that from the Earth's perspective, Saturn and Neptune, they are in square. That's been going on for a while. See that? It's like a 90-degree angle going on there. You can also see kind of this, I'll show you what's coming here pretty soon, but there's also the square between Mercury and Saturn, and the square between the Sun and Saturn. So there's a lot of squares going on these days. There's even a square going on between Uranus and Pluto. These are these 90-degree, and you can see the opposition between Jupiter and Neptune in square to Saturn. You see that? That's called a T-square that I did a whole 3-hour video on or something, taking it through the houses. Oh, look it. I passed up the eclipse. Dang it. Too much talking, man. Stop this sucker. Go back to actual time and get it going again. Alright. Is it going? Yeah. Here we go. Let's move this, no, not that way, but... Oh, yeah. Now we're going to be able to see. You can see a little more of this alignment that's been going on. Okay? And Mercury moving around. We're going to have Mercury conjunct the Sun on Wednesday. Jupiter exactly square Saturn on Wednesday. And a partial lunar eclipse on Wednesday. 3 degrees 17 minutes of Libra. You can see it coming up here. Let's get a little closer. Get inside Jupiter. And now, here we can kind of see that Mercury is sneaking up behind the Sun. So they're going to be exactly in alignment. Exactly. I mean, it's like the same day. There's going to be this alignment next Wednesday. You know, it's like mark your calendar. Full moon, partial eclipsed by the Sun. I mean by the Earth. Right there it is. Stop that sucker. Oh, I don't know. These software programs. Stop. Thank you. There we are. Just past. Yes. And what you don't see on here is Chiron. Chiron is in between the orbits of Uranus. There's the orbit of Uranus, okay? And Saturn, there's the orbit of Saturn. Chiron is also right there. Yes? Exactly conjunct the south node of the moon, which is bringing it into alignment with this. So we have the moon, Earth, Sun, Mercury, Chiron, all lined up. And it's really for the whole week. The moon, intensifies next week, but, it's really powerful. And beyond that, what we don't see here is if you would see that this is also the same time as the spring equinox, which is actually happening, yes, on Saturday, the 19th. The Sun moves into the sign of Aries, and on Monday, Mercury moves into Aries. So we've got this whole thing going on here, okay, with stuff moving out. It's like, you know what? The Pisces party is over, folks. The The Sun and Mercury are leaving Pisces. Yeah? I don't know. Let's see. I could even pull up for a quick second. Let's see what I got going here. Yeah? Here it is. Right? Let's get this thing going backwards. Here we go. We can go all the way back to it's going pretty slow, but Sun and Mercury coming out of Pisces. We've talked about, this last few weeks, Neptune, Venus, Chiron, South Node, Mercury, and Sun, all in that sign of Pisces. Okay, it's been going on for a long time. Chaos. I'll talk about what this all means, okay, shortly, but as you can see, as of Saturday, okay, today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we've got still this huge lineup in Pisces. The dream, the infinite potential, the infinite possibility, lazy, passive, can't get out of bed, just like in chaos and no time and no space and no energy, and I just want to, just dream my life away and escape and have another toke or another smoke or another something to, escape all this mundane, all these tons of work over here in Virgo going on. Crazy doing. But guess what? Along comes Aries. Sun goes into Aries, and like I say, by Monday, Mercury goes into Aries, and it's a big shift, okay? What else am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about Saturn, 16 degrees, Jupiter, 16 degrees. You see that square going on, okay? And that square is also, Venus is going to be joining it, but I'll be talking about that more next week. And I know people like me to look at the camera, so I'm going to just stop this thing and look you dead in the eye. The eye of the camera, that is. Oh my God, life is crazy. So much to do in so little time, so much to say, so much going on. It's like, wow. What can I say? It has not been easy. I've been talking to people, doing readings, and, it's nuts. It's been challenging. There's been a lot of loss. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of endings, finishings, closings, completings. This is Pisces. And at the same time, like we said, I've always said, Pisces, Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The dream, it's the end of dreams and the end of illusions, okay, and the end of false realities, and then after the dream, what? It's wake up. And that's coming like right around the corner, like right now. You may even be feeling it by the time you hear this report, man. That Sun goes into Aries, Mercury comes into Aries. And if you don't get up out of bed and stop your dreaming, you're going to get kicked out of bed or dumped out of bed and woken up. Because that's what Aries fire, cardinal fire is all about. It's the warrior. Yeah? So it's time to get up and get out and get going again. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not going to be easy, but when we do, this is going to be really something, because what are we facing? A Saturn square Jupiter that's going on for a long time, a couple of weeks at least. And it goes back cycles upon cycles upon cycles of time. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction was in 2000 in Taurus, with a new set of values, a new set of priorities, the start of a new beginning. And Jupiter and Saturn have to do with social order and government and, things like that. This is a year of this Jupiter-Saturn squaring. We got this election going. It's election year, and you have these different ideologies, different beliefs, different set of values. Well, okay, yeah, this Jupiter-Saturn is a 20-year, cycle. The next time they're coming together is in 2020, conjunct Pluto, and the south node of Pluto and Pluto in the United States chart, 2020 is like freaking huge. I don't want to go into that now because this is a weekly Pele report. But what we're looking at now, all I can say is, I feel like, and this is what this Pisces and Chiron conjunct the South Node, the wounded healer, it's like going into the shop. You know, like when your car is acting funny, or, you know, you bought a new car and you drive it around for a little while and you start hearing noises, or it starts, you know, falling apart, this starts breaking, the tires wear out, whatever. You bring it into the shop. Like for an alignment. I like that one. Let's get an alignment. And that's exactly what this time is about. It's about morals. It's about ethics, which are based upon values and people's beliefs and what you believe. This is Saturn moving now through Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter coming through Virgo, which is clean it up, get your act together, yeah, put your body in the shop, and so this can be happening on any one of many different levels depending upon your orientation, your birth chart, where the eclipse falls in your chart. Maybe I'll go through this whole, the 12 houses or the 12 signs lickety-split for you, but right now I just want to finish this thought. This thought is that it can be happening on what? Earth, water, air, or fire. This can be happening on a physical level. Your body needs to go into the shop. You need some nutrition. You need some, you know, nutritional therapy. You need some yoga. You may end up in the hospital. You may have organs, or, you know, arteries or hearts or brains or whatever. You know, just on this physical level, this can be a time of getting back into alignment. And that can also be sexual, because that brings us into the emotional. And the physical, emotional, the first and second chakras also have to do with our sexual orientation and how we are, yes, integrated or not integrated, how we are physically and emotionally expressing our truth in the world. Oh man, I forgot all about the announcements. I'm going to Guatemala now to do a workshop here, Uniting Heaven and Earth. I leave on Friday. I'm going to be, you know, at this equinox, which is where I'm going to be pulling out the, drawing the names from the hat for the Love of Astrology raffle, like last chance. Ladies and gentlemen, get those tickets in before Saturday. Yeah, I think Saturday, but probably Monday, because I'm teaching on the weekend. But, you know, we're going to be drawing the names out of the hat for the winners. One of the prizes, the grand prizes, you know, the conference, Astrology Rising convention, astrology convention in Costa Rica with the entire dream team. Oh my God. Yeah. Super awesome. And then free readings, books, videos, t-shirts. It's all going on. There's 26 winners in this raffle. Over $3,000 worth of stuff. Get those tickets now. Last chance. Oh, what else is there? Then I'm coming back and I'm doing another workshop in Nosara, the astrology of health, yoga, astrology and yoga for health. Right? And you know, there's still a couple spaces left in there, April 2nd to 9th, if you're a last minute kind of person. What else was there? The raffle, Guatemala, Nosara. I think that, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. But back to the point. You can be, this is a time of coming into alignment where you set some new values or some new goals or some new businesses or new ambitions or new relationships that were going to help you manifest your powerful, you know, gift to the world. This is Taurus. My talent, my capacity, my resources. Yeah? And so now, 16 years later, you know, Jupiter comes around and Saturn has moved around and Jupiter's in Virgo. What do these two have in common? Yeah? Sagittarius and Saturn moving through Sagittarius is reforming and restructuring our relationship to natural law. And is my personal desires, my personal resources, or my personal survival needs, are they being met in alignment and in accordance with a greater reality? Sagittarius is the greater reality or the greater truth. the meaning of life. And Jupiter coming around here through Virgo is saying, get rid of anything that's not in alignment, or that's not pure, or that's not a true expression of the highest of those morals, the highest of those values. So, this is a time for emotional, what is that? That's like, emotional therapy, sexual therapy, okay, really moving dance therapy, art therapy, music therapy, color therapy. This is how we work with our emotions. And the way of the shaman, what is it? Breath, sound, and movement. This is how we work with these emotional realms. Then we've got the air, it's the mental. Okay, and you just like maybe going crazy with too much Facebook, too much internet, too many emails, too many business plans, and too many projects, and all this thinking. And maybe you need a psychoanalyst. Maybe you're going crazy. The ETs are talking to you 24/7, so you can't, think because they won't shut up. Like if you're starting to lose your balance, or you're going out of alignment in these mental realms. This is also around honesty and truth, or maybe denying or hiding or sneaking or lying, or working our ways around, the joker, the mind, mental mind games, challenging. Yeah. And then of course fire, spirit. Yes. The long term, the long range, the planet, the planet and the cosmos and the galaxy and spirit direction, and aligning my, my Sushumna, so that I, am in connection, with the fire element, which is creative, intuitive, cosmic vision of the seer. And so when we get out of alignment with that, we run out of fire, we run out of energy, we run out of steam, because we don't have a direction to go. Fire in the masculine gives us a purpose, and we find that purpose within ourself, within our spirit. This is the masculine. This is the fire and air. And then we've got that feminine, earth and water. So we want to be balancing all of these. And the main thing that we want to just say is move on and let it go, and don't get stuck in either or, the above or the below. Yeah, the high spirit, I only wear white, I only drink this and eat this, and I have to do my yoga, and I can't partake of, chocolate, wine, sex, blah, 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 money, all this kind of a thing, because I'm all fire and air, which is burned up and dried up and can get kind of rigid and has no fun, and is just like totally so straight and disciplined and, so clear, it's like not human. And then the opposite, I am lost in indulgence, and all I want is sex, wine, and chocolate, or whatever, and I am down here engorging and indulging in my hedonistic ways, and I just love it, and it's just all about this, feeling and pleasure, and, just like, having a ball, in more ways than one, right, and kind of like, but then what's it like, where's the direction, or what's the purpose? Or what's it all about? Or what's where's the children and their children and their children and planet Earth? A bigger cause, a bigger reality than just me having a good time here, indulging and eating and drinking and loving and whatever. So this is about this bridging between Pisces, the infinite potential, which is spaced out and dreaming, and addictive forms of behavior that want to take us out to cosmic realms, and Virgo, which is earth and work, and straighten it out and perfect it and get it together in your body on planet Earth, and this, that, and the other thing. And all I'm saying is, now it's interesting because the solar eclipse was in Pisces. Now we have this lunar eclipse in Aries Libra. Yeah, totally different. Very often they're in the same signs, but these now, we've jumped signs here, folks. And it's a pretty interesting one, because the moon is going to conjunct her north node where she is more powerful. Planets are always more powerful, you know, when they're near their north node. So it's like, really, this is like a super full moon. This is like emotional, like, I am a feeling emotional body and person, and I need, you know, love and affection and emotional connection, and and at the same time, the sun in Aries. I am free, I am independent, I am liberated, and I have a direction. I am a warrior, and I am going in this way. So this is, you know, this is this balance, and all I want to say is I feel like we want to, what? Well, we'll get to the mantra shortly, you know, because it's about bridging these two worlds. But one of them is just, I think there's this other aspect of allowing for change. What you really want to see is where these eclipses fall in your natal birth chart. By house, you know, we have the sign, and what aspects they're making. Where was 18, 19 degrees of Pisces in your chart? That's where the solar eclipse was. And that sets the tone for the next 6 months. And so we just want to kind of move through these. I said I'd go through them real quickly, you know. It's like, okay, you know, Pisces is chaos. And we've been, you know, dealing with chaos, which is surrender to life. Be a leaf on a river and let it flow and let it go. So it can feel like loss and things passing on and moving away. And we can get stuck there. In depression and loss and grief and chaos and, oh my God, I'm a victim, I'm a martyr, you know, I'm scared and I don't want to get out of bed. We can get stuck there. Well, don't get stuck there. Now, the Sun and Mercury go into Aries. Aries is a new spark, a new impulse. Okay, I had the dream. It's time to wake up and manifest that dream. Let's act. Let's do it. So Aries can just like act and do it and put it out there, you know, blunt, brash, impulsive, spontaneous. Don't get stuck with that. Aries moves into Taurus, second house. Maybe this eclipse is happening in your second house. You got 6 months to be working, you know, in this particular realm. Aries is that spark and impulse that goes into Taurus, the earth, and resources, and develops itself, new capacities, new talents, new resources, digging deep within myself to come up with, you know, how awesome I am and how valuable I am because I've got these resources. Yes, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. I am a resource, and don't get stuck in that. You know, that it's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm building myself. Then it goes into Gemini. And Gemini takes these resources and it takes my values and my capacities and, you know, what I have, and I connect, I communicate. I reach out to my community, to my brothers and sisters on planet Earth, and I get into the Facebook and the technology that connects me, and it's all about communication and gathering more information and learning how I can apply and use all my resources in the most, you know, greatest, you know, awesome way. And then, you know, it's like I gather all this stuff and I get all these friends and community, and this, don't get stuck there. Go, busy, talk, that. No, go into Cancer. Cancer, I set the home, I set the roots, I get human, okay? I get in touch with my humanity, I get in touch with my feelings, with my fears, with my insecurities. And I have to come home, I have to make a nest, yeah? You know, and really set a foundation for myself, in myself, by listening to my own drummer after I've got all this information, you know, not be too distracted, but come home to myself. Introversion, feel the feelings, 4th house, moon, don't get stuck there. Boom, it moves on into Leo, yeah? And then it's time to, like, okay, take all of this, you know, and I have babies, you know, create. 5th house, Leo, children, okay, enterprises, plays, drama, dance, romance, extroversion, creative self-expression. Step it out there. Get in touch with, yeah, I am special. I'm unique. I got this thing happening. Let's create. Yeah, and let's have the romance and the fun and recreation. Well, don't get stuck there, right? You know, this great, you know, oh, my purpose and myself and my creative, and I'm an artist, I'm a dancer, I'm a this, I'm a that, goes into Virgo. Yeah, so you're so great, but, you know, what are you worth to me? To the other person, to the world at large? What can you give? What can you contribute? How can you serve? You know? So like get down to work and do something, you know? It's like get out there, you know, and perfect your dance, perfect your act, and make it relevant. Yeah, make it wanted. Be, you know, be useful to others, you know? So look at yourself, purify and get it together. And don't get stuck there looking at yourself, purifying and getting it together. You know, boom, come out into Libra. Partnership and relationship, other people. You know, bringing it all out, showing my colors, you know, coming into, you know, I can only do so much alone. Let's do it together. We're going to make more together. We're going to do more together. Let's make business partnerships, you know, marriages, you know, relationships, all different forms. You know, again, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual relationships on all different levels, you know, and do this thing of listening and balancing and harmonizing and compromising and cooperating with the other. But then what? Don't lose yourself. Don't lose control. Don't get stuck in Libra, partnership and relationship. Go into Scorpio. Maybe this eclipse is happening in your 8th house. Okay, you know? And you know, it's aspecting Pluto or whatever, you know, for you. This is, again, taking that to the next level. Yes? And that is sex, merging, union, emotional, you know, financial, powerful union. Don't get stuck in the talking and the window shopping and the business and just da-da-da, but dive in for the alchemical transformation. Allowing yourself to be penetrated, allowing the other in, trusting, surrendering to the other, becoming vulnerable, yes, to be fertilized. And then what? You know, it's just like, it's also, if you look at the northern hemisphere where astrology was, you know, first really brought about and organized by the Greeks, you know, that's also fall. It's death. It's the end of I, me, my, and my trip and our business into what? Yeah, don't get stuck in merging. You know, don't get stuck in these power games of, you know, control or power or surrender, or who's on top, who's on bottom, predator and prey, this and that. No. Let go. Merge. Let go of yourself, your Leo self, and merge with the other for something what? Sagittarius. So now we've got this Saturn in Sagittarius. This is a time of like getting out of bed, getting out of the sex, getting out of the orgasm, getting out of the death and the alchemical transformation and emotional intensity of, oh my God, I'm a new person and I'm shedding my skin, and come into what? The new horizon. A bigger world, a bigger purpose, a bigger planet, a transpersonal reality. It's the guru, it's the seer, it's the teacher, Sagittarius. So it's time now, right? Saturn is calling us until the end of next year, end of 2017. Saturn's in Sagittarius, saying, come into alignment with a greater set of morals, ethics, laws, and truths than just your own, or just your partner's. This is a big galaxy, this is a big universe, and there are natural laws, and there are divine laws, and Sagittarius needs to like seek them out and understand the truth, and don't get stuck there. You know, I got the truth, I got the knowledge, I got the know-how, I'm the this, that, and the other thing, you know, I'm the cat's meow, you know. It's like, no, boom, get into Capricorn. Become the elder, become responsible, yes? Take roles of responsibility and authority to create, you know, and bring these spiritual high truths into down to earth. Yeah, not go sit on the mountaintop. The days of the, you know, the yogi on the mountaintop are, you know, it's now age of Aquarius. Level playing field. Let's bring it all down and bring the bottom up so that we can merge together here in the middle. And this is done by creating man-made laws, man-made institutions, man-made banks, man-made religions, man, woman, 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 ego, 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 ego. Human-made laws, rules, and institutions need to be based upon these higher elements of fire from Sagittarius. Yeah? And not be the result of insecurities and fears and ego, greed and materialism that, I need more, and not finding our truth, which we should have found in Sagittarius, okay, here, with the earth sign of Capricorn. Yeah? So then we get into these places of the CEO, the corporation, the power. The buck stops here. I am the boss. I draw the line. I draw the boundary. I say this goes. I say this stops. Get into that powerful place of the Capricorn, but don't get stuck there. Move on to Aquarius. Aquarius, opening the third eye, the prophet, liberation, the future. Setting future goals that are connected to global consciousness, globalization. Yes, it's the weather, it's an air sign. I call it outer space. Yeah? It's even beyond the air. So this is communities, and this is what's good for the future. And it's liberation from the past and from the old conditions, rules, laws, institutions. We need to invent and innovate and go into the future and envision, new things. And don't get stuck there. Envisioning air castles in the sky, little bubbles, new programs. I'm just stuck in my computer, writing new code. Don't get lost, okay, in that, that's almost anti-human. It's extraterrestrial, it's like outer space, right? Don't get lost out there. Come where? Back to Pisces. Love, heart, spirit, divine, infinite union. Yeah? We come into, the unified field theory, which is more than a theory if you're a Pisces, because you can feel it, sense it, know it, believe it, trust it, surrender to it, allow it to exist, stepping back from judgment and laws and rules and past and future, and just come into the eternal now, the eternal moment of love, which is what? Egolessness. It's chaos. There's no me, there's no mine, there's no self. It's like, who am I? Where am I? Oh my God, what's going on? And this is where that solar eclipse was in Pisces. And everybody's, pulling out straws going, oh my God, I don't know what's up and what's down and what I'm supposed to hold on to and what I'm supposed to let go of, and, what's in good, bad, and wrong and right, and well, that is kind of a necessary phase, like I said, and we don't get stuck there. Shift, change, just like the seasons. This is what's so awesome about astrology. It's cycles. Cycles, 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 cycles. You got the 20-year cycle of Jupiter, Saturn. Okay, we got the eclipse, cycles that are every 18.6 years. We've got, the Mars cycle. Oh my God, I didn't even go into Mars, but there's always next week because I'm done talking, baby. What do we got going here? We've got a mantra, and that mantra again is moderation is the key when deciding this or that. As I am the bridge between the worlds, balancing them is my act. This is the place where we get kicked out of the Garden of Eden, right? We get kicked out of innocence and naivety. We get kicked out of Pisces. We get kicked out of the dreams and the illusions. And we get shot into Virgo, which is get your shit together and straighten up and, get it. There's the bridge between worlds. The spiritual and the physical. Uniting heaven and earth, the masculine and the feminine. We are the bridge. I am the bridge. I'm not lost in fire and air. I'm not lost in earth and water. I'm not lost in cosmic spiritual stuff. I'm not lost in the underworld of chaos. and emotional turmoil. I am the bridge. This is a time to be the bridge. You know, it's one perspective. So, I'll just, say it and get out of your hair. It's, moderation. Oh yeah, this was, because I got turned on to this because I read this article, and I'll post it on my Facebook page, New Paradigm Astrology, about the pineal gland. And this pineal gland is this little pea-sized thing, that, we want to open for opening the third eye, and DMT opens it, ayahuasca opens it, and all these things open it, distilled water. But it's actually becoming more and more calcified, and shut down, and kind of shrinking and shriveling up. Why? Well, a lot of because of the fluoride in the water, the chocolate, the alcohol, tobacco. I mean, there's like all these things that affect. And I'm just sitting here. These are all the things that I like. It's like, you know what? I'm attracted to chocolate, and I like a good glass of wine or scotch or something, And it's like but all this stuff calcifies and shrinks, and holds that pineal gland, which opens me up to like spiritual dimensions and ultimate realities. And it's just like, oh my God, do I cut out, and stop doing, everything that I like, in order to like open up my pineal gland? Or do I like indulge and just like do what I like and do what feels good and do what I enjoy, and have my pineal gland shrink up and dry up and die and get shut off from this world of spirit? So that's what brought me to the mantra for today. Both. It's not either this or that. We are the bridge. I'm saying I can do my Kundalini yoga and have my chocolate. Anyway, this is the longest Paleo report ever. My camera ran out after 30 minutes, so I'm getting out of here. Namaste, aloha, so much love.